just thought of it. Might be a good thing for people to know. I can hardly hear myself. If you don't have earplugs, you can use Kleenex. Wet Kleenex actually does a pretty good job. I just wanted to say that when you're starting out in a band, if you've never built things or have like very limited experience like I do, or I've only built a few tiny things when I was really young, or like taking wood shop in high school, like we only did some simple things, and I hardly remember any of that. But like I recommend not having to rush. Like I felt the rush, like I wanted to get a lot of this stuff done like really quickly. I thought I could do like a day on almost like every single process. But you need to make mistakes and kind of think about what the next plan is. Like for instance, a board right over here, it looks a lot like these, but it's 39 by 24. It's 39 because that's as wide as my bed is, and then 24 for the height of my bed. That's the piece of that. It's the back piece. So yeah, it's this high and this long. So I couldn't really see my hands. What can you see? Like this and like this. 39 by 24. And always measure in inches. Like I started to kind of go back and forth and just stuff that sounded good, but you're going to need to use inches on your tape measures. You're going to need it for your calculations, adding, subtracting. For instance, like you're going to need to add up all the different thicknesses for your ceiling and your floor so that you can get a good idea of how much standing up room or sitting room, in my case, what that's going to look like for you. So that actually comes into the picture when you're doing the bed frame, obviously. I mean, I didn't really think of it till now, but I held off on that measurement. I was like, I'm not really sure what that measurement is for my height because I don't know what all these were. So I figured that out last night, roughly. I don't have my laminate, I don't have my tongue and groove, but I looked at some different thicknesses for what I could use, and and that's pretty rough because it was pretty quick. I literally just saw like a couple different thicknesses or searched it, and they said, oh, you can get like tongue and groove thickness from I forget what it was, but up to like an inch. And so I went with like one of the thinnest ones, but not the absolute thinnest. So just to give a little bit of wiggle room, like, hey, if you mess that up, you have just a little bit of extra height. So if you do it under by whatever reason, maybe you had to go with a different ceiling material that was, a few millimeters thicker or something like that. Then you're not. Then you're not hitting your head, but it's pretty rough. And sometimes I realize that I don't have to be a stickler. I don't have to be nitpicking all this stuff because, I mean, all in all, like, and I tried it. I was like, hey, what if I messed up like on an inch or two, or did this, which is also my storage area, this bed frame. Height, what if I did 2 inches extra? Because I looked at this one I'm copying, saw that they have 16 inches, and I'm like, I can't do 16, but I met it halfway. I was like, I was planning on 12 and having really good headroom while I sit, not having any issues. But if I'm cozy, if I'm sitting back, I don't know if I put into account my cushion, and that could make it a little bit tighter. But the whole idea for me, being a tall guy, 6'2.5", and being in the smallest version of like a low roof van, I'll take everything that's the minimal thickness. But the one thing I didn't do, which I could have done, was to put my furring strips. And I haven't done it yet, actually, but I have them all cut, all measured out. I'm gonna do it this way. Instead of lining them with the grain of the floor, the pre-existing floor. That I don't know how all vans are, but this one goes like this, like laterally, I guess. And I'm gonna do it cross grain so that if they're lay the furring strips across, not parallel with them. So perpendicular, they're going to be running like this, and it's going to go like this. That's going to keep, I don't know, I haven't read about this too much, but in my mind, I really want that floor to be good, because if anything goes wrong on ceiling or floor, especially floor, if something gets messed up in that, like, you're tearing out everything, you're redoing everything. So all your furniture is coming out, the floor is coming out, the strips are coming out. That's a big deal. So that's exactly why I'm like, hey, I can go with it's not even that much, honestly. It's the difference is maybe like a quarter of an inch, or yeah, it's probably between a quarter of an inch and a half an inch. So anyway, I did that. That keeps it where if water wants to somehow accidentally go underneath, it's not going to be hitting my furring strips. So it's just going to... It could still create mold, I suppose, or rust, but I think it's more likely to create a rust situation, or just not be problematic. It's not going to touch the wood. Also, they're not here, and I'm talking about two projects, but the furring strips have like a water, a low VOC, which is like really low toxicity ingredient that's making it up. That's helping to ensure there's not a lot of water penetration, and I'm sure that will help with mold. There may be one more thing that I don't know if this is the right stage to do it, but there's like a mold spray. I almost picked it up, and then I realized, people are actually using that. It's some kind of mold and mildew spray that's preventative. Might be a cleanup as well. So that's just a thought. That would really suck to run into those issues. So anyway, all of that plays into the height, plays into the this whole concept I'm talking about, with figuring out your sitting space for your bed. That's like a big thing. I mean, chairs, you could change the chairs, I do have a couple seats that I'm doing in there, which is hard to believe. And I'll just open this up. Open up. There we go. I have it closed because I don't want the sawdust going in there. I made that mistake yesterday, and I had to sweep a little bit because I'm also painting, and you want it clean. And that's kind of why it's nice to get going on things, or stick with one project at least, because if I want to keep this clean and I'm obviously sanding or cutting wood, well, you can always close it up, but it does help that project stay, carry that project through. Like, you're not dumping dust on the paint, the surface that needs to get painted. I don't know if you can see, but there's spots. Oh, you got the wood in the way. There's spots all around where I just did. I can show you this. It's all here. I did one day yesterday. This read for 24 hours. A rust converter or reformer. I think they're the same thing. This is almost out. This runs by quick, even though it's a bigger can. A lot bigger can. It's weird. This one still feels heavy, and I've probably used about the same of each. That's weird. I think this just sprays a lot more into the air, because it's, is it almost twice as big? This doesn't really matter, but 291 versus 425. No, but like 100 and I can't do math right now. 135-ish extra grams, but it runs out way quicker. Anyway, the next step for that, and it's actually dry to the touch really quickly, within like 10 minutes. But this will come as just, so it's convert the rust or bare metal, which I kind of forgot in a few places that I wasn't really thinking about bare metal, but you can do that, and that should help protect that metal better. Then you come in with this one, which is the primer. These are all from YouTube videos and articles I've seen from other people. And I like when people are thorough. They're like, hey, we're using like all these. We got the system. This is a semi-gloss. I don't know. I forget why it's like semi-gloss. But hopefully, because I've done some of the doors, hopefully that's going to make it as glossy as the vehicle is, and as white as the vehicle, because yeah, that some of that might be noticeable. I mean, I'm gonna have these doors covered up with some wood bits and such, but yeah, you don't want it to look like someone was tagging your car like before you got it, right? You want it to kind of match up. Yeah, I think that's pretty low, and that's all. Sometimes I get too far into it, like what's really gonna matter, and like here's a good example. I did something like this, which is on the very corner, and nobody's gonna see that. But it's good to protect the places that matter. Like really, when you're using a spray can, I think it's totally smart. Like I may have gone a little quick in there, and I did spray some of a little metal. If you can see it there, the metal console. It's like a lockbox without a key. It doesn't have a key. If that would have hit like say the top of my cab area where there's like that fabric, and I just used my hand, I already washed my hand, but it's still got a bunch of primer and stuff. That would really suck, and those get dirty quick. I mean, I just had it taken into a place, and somebody somehow couldn't get in, and they decided to use their dirty ass hands on my ceiling there, the carpet, and I haven't tried to get it off, but it looks crappy. So, excuse my language. It looks crummy, and you want to take care of those parts that you're going to leave in. So yeah, always like protect with tape. It's like right here. Also another handy thing that people might not know, and I still haven't gotten into the habit of it all the way, is you can tape all your cuts before you even mark them. Before you mark them, this is going to keep your wood from splitting out, especially plywood. So if you already mark it, you don't want to lay tape on it, because then you're remarking, and it's weird. Like I'm a perfectionist when I mark, but then sometimes I don't have it all lined up right when I cut, and so even though I had a perfect measurement, my cuts might be a 16th to an 8th off, like mostly like 16th. That only happened on like one board pretty good. Or I gotta check the big top I have that's for like this bed's amazing. This bed is in a kick butt. It's like a lid. There's like a storage box. I'll just take you here. This is going to be a storage box right here, but also it's about. I'll flip you this way. I don't know if that's going to be good for posting a video, but probably not. So a storage box goes here. The lid flips up from this side. So if I'm inside, it's accessible that way. But also this side, of course, I'm gonna just make it with like little hinges. Maybe just like one big compartment, just like the top. I've seen people do like little cubbies, but on the whole, like if you're doing something like that, where it's supposed to be like easy access from the outside, I think that's pretty obvious. You need that to be really accessible, not like, oh, how can I get to my stuff through 3 different little window cabinet doors, cabinet doors, not windows. So it's pretty ideal to have big storage doors. Hey, if it's inside, you can do little things, and I plan on adding like these little miniature cabinets just to add to the maximize the space. And no one can tell yet, and how I have like nothing put in right now, but I'm planning on maximizing the space. Like, it doesn't seem like it because I didn't do the furring strips on the very bottom, right? But there's a few things I haven't seen people do. I'm not gonna. Something that's beyond me is doing the corners with the tongue and groove, the edges, where the sides come down. That seems a little really weird. I don't know how people can do that and have everything match up, but trust me, when this finished project, I'm tired. It's gonna look like I maximize the space, and I've gone between like colors. I can tell you all sorts of ideas. I've gone between like how I'm gonna use my colors. I want to do white and a turquoise, and pretty sure white's gonna go on the ceiling and on the like upper cabinets like that. And I haven't looked at enough stuff to assure that that's gonna like look fine, but I want to do the turquoise lower. So painting this bed frame turquoise, all the cabinets on the bottom turquoise. Yeah, we'll see. I gotta like look and see if that's something people actually do, is like that variation, of 2 different cabinet colors like that, high and low, but doesn't seem like too big of a deal. Should work. So maximizing the space, like I'm gonna be putting on this top little area, like I'm not even sure, I haven't measured this all out, but I thought of it because I hadn't had the van for like a week. It was in the shop getting some transmission stuff done, which really sucked. I mean, it was like $700, just like $700 that could have been put into the van build, but that stuff can come. You can work your way up. I was thinking about getting like an extra battery that would, a battery that would run my equipment like more efficiently. The Jackery is good for just being a powerhouse and delivering good power, but it's not that efficient. I looked at Will Proess's video that compared a lot of solar chargers or solar generators, and yeah, that became abundantly clear. I watched that video like back to back, like a bunch of times, like 6 times, and in between just going through it, all these tests he did on these batteries. So I don't have the time or the money to do like standard by the book solar. I looked into all that. I really looked into it for like over a week, and just days and days of at least a few weeks. Yeah, I was really diving into it. I could almost put it together. I feel like it's really not too crazy, but it's the time, money, and I just need to get this on the road, get it livable. So anyway, cabinets up. Oh, that's not the right way. Up in here, right where it meets the metal, which will be my tongue and groove, and meets the carpet area, which is part of the cab. Just a little bit. Like I said, I don't know how deep that'll go, but the whole point is like when you're driving, you don't want to be like, oh, I can't really see behind me, I'm looking at cabinets. I mean, that would be horrible. That can't even happen. So I was driving and kind of just putting my hand up there to see, where can I put cabinets? Can I see my hand right here? So I'll do that more. a similar thing's going to happen over the doorway, which is obviously not where you could put huge cabinets up in here, right? You wouldn't want to put any cabinets there. But because there's that lip, and it's not much, obviously, but hey, I can bring it down a little bit, and I'll just do one door. I could bring it down a little bit and have the cabinets, that'll be its own size, basically its own cabinet, extend over on that door, and that's exactly where my sink's gonna be. I put together so many ideas that were not gonna go be part of this whole thing. Yesterday, I just came up with them. So I realized the toilet could not work over here. I was starting to think like, oh, can I fit a bucket here? And yeah, I could, but I was starting to think like if I want to use the bathroom when I'm in bed, which actually I never really do. That would be like if I have something just, I don't know, rarely happens. I don't get up to go to the bathroom at night. So that's not an issue, but let me explain this better. What actually made sense to put the toilet somewhere else, which is crazy. I can't even explain. It's hard to even explain, even though it's not going to be that tricky or anything. Oh no, it's going to be a little tricky. Okay, right where you usually have half the door taken up by like a sink, right? Right where that's at, still on this upper landing spot. I guess it's so hard to point, but right around here, that space all going to be taken up. And that's the genius part. That's genius. I've never seen that, and that's what makes me really excited to do it. It's going to hinge just like a door. So you come through that one door, it opens up first, the one on the right, and that's the one you step up. Here, instead of pointing it from the other side. And this is just a mishmash of everything I'm doing. Okay, I guess I'll keep it this way. So, right here you would, this is the midpoint where the door would go. You would be keeping, most people, okay, like I will be having, just like most people do, the sink right here, midway into this whole big doorway. It's right in the middle. Maybe this is easier here. So this is taken up by, I didn't have it perfectly in mind what would go here, but I was like, I want to maximize the space. So I was thinking of like a bookshelf, shelving. I even thought, just keep an extra window here. I think what could be possible is to leave that, I think if I can maximize that space, I should. I mean, I should cover up that window. Having two back windows, this window. Of course, there's going to be a gap here, and it actually opens up, which is nice. But covering up the window in terms of where this sets apart from your step, right? So there's still going to be a bit of a gap here where this is not meeting the door or the window. So anyway, there's just that to consider. I can kind of close it and show you. See, there's still like a good amount of space. So this is going to be like a folding shelf, but it's really a seat. Okay, so this is perfect. Let me explain how this whole thing lines up. I gotta flip you once again. Let's go this way. This is all upper cabinet space. I'm still debating. It's like gonna be one of my last things I do probably. They might be full length for the majority of this whole side until it hits the sink area, which begins at the door and goes only half the door. But that's all counter space. That's like 2 feet, and sink, which you can cover with like a cutting board. Anyway, there's that. The bed is partially like 2 feet. That storage compartment, and there's a little like routed out slats that just help it breathe and all that. And then so the rest of like the 4 foot, whatever, 6 inches, I forget exactly what I'm doing. It's I actually haven't cut those, but yeah, it's gonna end right here. I just left this. This is all battery, gonna be battery compartment. No one's gonna see it. I just treated some like rusty spots a bit. It was actually the most rust I've seen in this place is behind the battery. And yeah, this is hooked up to the alternator. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I don't know all the mechanics, but usually that's how this works. This is actually a wet cell battery, marine grade. I forget how big it is, but it's not that big. It's like smaller, medium. It's like 100 amp hours or something. Haven't really used it much. Anyway, I'm all over the place, but let me just come back to the whole design. So, yeah, that sink's here, full cabinets back. There's actually a little storage area in the corner. Am I pointing into it? That's like upright. You could stick a broom or a full-size vacuum or whatever. I just wanted that for some options. Anyway, this bed, there's no cabinets above here. This is all, you're able to sit here when the bed is not converted. And so then it becomes a slat bed, and you just pull out the slats and it joins the same depth, which is what is that? It's, how do I forget that measurement? Oh yeah, well it's 39. Yeah, it's 39 inches that way. Anyway, so that's where the bed sits, and then we come over here, and I'm thinking just here, like, well, this whole area is going to be like a chair / storage area. Like, it's chair here, and just built right into the wall. It can flip up and everything to access this battery compartment, and that's going to be a place where I allow some extra storage. So some of that I probably won't even be using. Oh, I didn't really say it, but shelving goes right on the side of that seat. So you're sitting, and the shelving is with the chair. So it's painted white. And then this is where the fridge goes. I just need to, this is where I accidentally sprayed. Not that I really care, I'm jerking it out, but I have to probably use a grinder. There's 2 bolts that are funky, or maybe I just haven't spent enough time on them. They might be able to pull out with like a crimp grip thing, and while twisting, but they're inaccessible from the bottom. It's really stupid. The other rivets I've drilled out, but it's a little bit bigger. There's like a full-on bolt. It's, yeah, just, yeah, heck, I could, I don't know if that overexposed or something. No. I could just drill those out, but it'd take a while. Grinding it's basically the same thing. You just got to put on more protection because it's gonna fly everywhere. So there's that. Anyway, fridge goes here. I only thought of it as a fridge at first, but what's gonna happen, and this makes, I'm going in so many different directions. The main purpose. Let me come back here first. So it'll make this area make sense here. This flipping door, extra door when you come in, it can go 90 degrees here. That's the toilet slash seat. So it's going to have something that flips up, a hinge that flips up. And there's probably like a thin cushion, so it's not like going to be in the way when you hinge it up. Yeah, the whole toilet's here. I got like a compost toilet idea. I have all the stuff for it. I might just need a little tubing or something, but it can all work. I just need to put it together and then make that part of like a usable frame. I might even be able to do that while I'm here. I do have extra plywood, so that's cool. I actually have wood. Once you start getting into wood, you can actually start building stuff. Yeah, I always thought I was going to use like the same wood, but hey, if I'm painting it and I'm sanding it and it's decent plywood, I think this was actually, it was like 45 or 48 bucks for a 8x4 section, which I guess is supposed to be a lot, but there's no cheaper price. Other places had it for a bit more, I think. Yeah, or all they only had like nice wood, so this was like decent grade without breaking the bank. It wasn't maple, it wasn't birch. It has like no name, I guess. There's a lot of flies, a lot of chickens. So this is a toilet slash seat. I always wanted to do that, but in this case, it actually just has like a nice situation. It's gonna sit into a dining room, and it utilizes this extra space. Because I'm such a bigger guy, I couldn't really. There was no extra space along with the batteries, like to put the toilet, and I don't know. I could have made it over here, but like I said, then you can't use it at night, or whoever I'm with cannot use it at night. So there's that. So then I realized that I want to put. This is going to be on hinges. You can. Not sure how heavy that is, but maybe like 50-pound hinges or something. And so your fridge can roll out. You can load it up here. Oh, also why this is awesome to have, one, the sink here. You can change the water while you're outside, not even bending over or anything. You're already like 1.5 feet onto the ground. No bending, right? Same thing with the toilet. Open it from the back. You can take the compost 5-gallon bucket out. You can take the pee container out. I was going to do a bidet that I just tried out, but it doesn't work as efficiently as I like it to. It kind of drips water, and it's a foot pump, and it's just tacky. So I'm just going to use like a hand bidet because I think those are pretty necessary. It's like electric, and I think having it electric makes you feel, I don't know, makes you feel good. Makes it, even though it's a bidet, like makes you feel like luxurious. Like you don't really have to like go to town scrubbing, manually doing that business. It's nice that it's electric. It's kind of like low thought, just like bring it down there, push a button, pat dry, you're done, right? Using a little bit of tissue, but a lot less tissue, I imagine. Well, I know it's a lot less tissue. And then adding that water to the compost is no problem. It's actually good for the compost. Look that up. I've seen people say it's not. People I learned this from, don't remember their names, even though I'm subscribed. They said the same thing, and they compost with other things. It's good. Bidet with compost toilet. It's fine. So this is up a little higher. You've got the hinge idea where it hinges and it's easier to access. Then you can either be like a pull-out maneuver, but I haven't thought about it too much, but there's so many ways you can do like a pop-out table. I could just have it on the end, just like literally connected right to the fridge or the top of the fridge, like box area. Yeah, I don't know. That's something I'll have to think about. It won't be too difficult, but there's a few things going on, with like the hinges. I was gonna initially have the fridge as like a seat, but it's not too smart. I think there's some buttons on top of the fridge, so this is a pull-out table. You got the seat here, you got the seat here. Even though it's a toilet seat, but won't look like it as long as the lid's down. I thought about make it like a little like segment, or jokingly you could just be like eating, and then all of a sudden just like pop up the toilet and be going to the bathroom, right? I mean, that's nothing you can usually do in real life, so you got to try it out, right? But it's funny. So yeah, the pull-out table here, it just can't, when this is folded back, it just, I don't know if you can see, but it just, all this stuff has to be in line. And hey, that's probably exactly how wide I want it, or I'll be doing a little less. This can't be hitting here, and it swings out. Then you could even use it to be doing the dishes while you're seated, which is cool. One other crafty idea I had, I've always thought about doing, is a rolly seat. It's probably only going to be like a foot off the ground, but on the laminate floor, just have a rolly seat. And because I don't want to squat around here like some kind of trying to do the chicken, I want a rolly seat. If I want to go to my dressing area in the corner, or it's not the real corner, but the other side, I don't want to have to like jump around. And that could change. I mean, I will have seated area, where the bed is actually a seated couch, but I've always thought about that, just kind of utilizing the hallway. I forget how big my hall is going to be because it's not really set in stone, but navigating a small space with a small rolly stool seems good. So yeah, that's the story. That's the whole thing. I told you about all the cabinet ideas. This will be, I think I'll have pop-out tables on here, just in case, and it works perfectly for my kitchen area. If heck, somebody might just want to be sitting right here, and then somebody's got the this like swivel door toilet seated this way, and of course the sink's just like right next to us here. Yeah, they could do that, and I could have a flip out table here too. Those flip out tables, you could put them on all the doors. Why not? I really like the idea of options. I've even I don't know if those hinges could put up. I wouldn't test weight on those hinges, but I'm thinking you can almost put a bench across the whole that whole thing, even here, with these two doors, like a bench. But yeah, I mean, they're really not designed for extra weight. And if you mess that up, you got a couple 200-pounders sitting on that, and they sit a little too hard. Yeah, you might be running into big issues with the door. Just a thought, but nothing against 200-pounders. Just they can mess your stuff up. Any of this stuff, if you don't have your bed or your hinges weighted for certain, like with a certain allotment or tolerance, you could have literally, you might have to like usher people out or away from your van, like, yo, I'm sorry, like I didn't actually gear these hinges to fit someone like that size, like, like as weird as that is, but you would have to get some more honky, sturdy hinges, beds, stuff like that. I mean, none of my stuff is using hinges except for the fridge, but just so you know, some people rely on those hinges for weight bearing, and which is fine, and that's what I'll do for my fridge, because they can be very strong. It's just a nice add-on. It can almost be like, they could be like seats, just fully suspended, putting weight on them. But then you got to think, like, some people don't just like sit down gently and put their soft 200 pounds down or whatever, their weight down. They might plump down and add an extra 20 pounds or something to those tracks. Just a thought. And it's, yeah, just something you got to think about. And it would really suck to have, get somebody in the van with you that was putting your weight limits like way over. For, say, you did your fold out bed with, I don't know, maybe they're like 75-pound hinges each. I forget how they rank them, and you've got like 4 of those, but there's 2 of you on the bed, and just the math. Like, just make sure your stuff can tolerate it. Also, like, balancing your load left to right can be pretty smart, and even front to back, like just having an overall balance. I don't know that much about it, but I've heard people have done that. Weight everything out. Well, anyway, this is just all my ideas thrown at you guys, but that's what's up. That's the layout. It's going kind of slow, but I believe taking your steps, especially if you're new to this stuff, to see your mistakes, see where you're at, is good. Everyone's different, though. Everyone will build it differently, utilize tools a bit differently, friends, resources, the space, shade, where you're cutting, how you're cleaning, what you're cleaning with. All these things are going to just be variable. You have your own makeup and track some. You don't want to track too much in here, man. Still painting, still doing anything with the floor too. You don't want to track stuff. This was like kind of last minute. I didn't get those pieces of metal, so yeah, I came back with a little bit of that rust reformer, just because it's bare metal. Anyway, yeah, I'm really stoked about this area. It actually gives the space, like, it's like bed. You got like, okay, storage seems like storage. You open that up, you've got like a storage garage area to the right. You've got your pull-out storage there to access, and probably more weighty items, because there's not going to be as much weight there, right? I've got the toilet's not going to weigh that much, but all the battery setup here, sink more up front on this side of the wheel wells. Just going a million miles an hour. So yeah, anyway, that looks like the storage garage unit. I like that. And the bed, that looks like a bedroom area. Right across from that, clothes. Or anything else I'm going to store. It's probably going to be clothes. Because I'm going to have storage underneath this bench, which is nice. Even more than the back storage, because that's like 4.5 feet. A little over 4.5 feet. So, there's that. Garage, bedroom, and then kitchen. Then it gravitates over to these smaller little like spice drawers up top. Right, sink, and the dining table, fridge down here. 2 seats. Plus, I love this as well. I swear, they're going to be doing van builds like this. They are. And I haven't even done it yet. That's the weirdest part. But I know people are going to do this. Then your toilet, you can wash your hands. You get the sink right there, so your bathroom feels like a bathroom as well. One just little idea I have is that this is actually going to have like a door handle. So don't make it just look like, oh, you put a wall and I have an extra wall to go through. Make it make sense. Make a little handle on here so that it looks nice and that it doesn't just look like you got to move a wall to get inside. Make it look like that's my official door. This is where my house starts. A nice door handle. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'd go as far to make like a lock looking thing on that. Hey, could actually lock. Well, no, that'd be some extra effort because then you got to put something close to the seat, and I'm not gonna do that. But one other thing that's in mind here, everything's really bright. The floor, if it's when I do the laminate, it's gonna be a brighter laminate. I mean, it could be like grayish, which helps cover dirt, but I mean, there's no reason to like be mudding up your your house too much. This area, you know, you can take your shoes off here and store them somewhere. You know what? This would be a great shoe area. Haven't really got that far, but I have considered it a few times. Like down here, there's some space, and I'm not sure what that'll be. But yeah, it could be like a little pull out. These can be great little cubbies, especially that left side when you're not going to the left. You're not stepping up the left side, so you could make that a little drawer, which is nice. That would be awesome. And all these things you can get creative. Heck, you could end up putting drawers somewhere in here. If you know your sink's here, but there's like space for it, you could make that work for some drawers. I love how all this stuff can be changed around and made your own. Oh, the one thing I thought about security, which is actually pretty big. You know, you're gonna have all like the most efficient means for you to be living, efficient items, for you to be living with here, and so I saw that there are some locks, and you do it on the inside, not the outside. And I like this idea because it doesn't let people know you've got valuable items inside and that you're living out of it, or you know, that almost just people are going to know by the solar panels. Maybe the vent fan. My vent fan looks a little bit like, maybe, you know, who knows what that is. If I'm not quite sure, you know, that leaves like maybe, well, you know, some portion of people, like half or something, maybe a third, who are also like, I'm not sure if that's going to be a fan. You know, I've never really observed this stuff because I'm converting a low roofed van as well. The low key factor isn't as big of an issue, but it's a thought. The solar panels, people know, but I want to make it as much as possible where people think like, you know what, maybe that's just a business thing, and because honestly, there's probably gonna be more value in a lived-in van than a company van. That's just the way it is. But I'd love to make some kind of logo. I don't care. I'll make a logo for it, and it can just be to dissuade people from thinking it's a lived-in van. Could just be a business van. Anyway, that was a side note. The locks could go on the inside. You can just do regular kind of like latch or deadbolt locks. I haven't bought those yet, but no, there are so many things in this that I've like left out. You know, I've left out a bit of the electricity, the insulation. Anyway, the locks seem really cool. I have a few ideas around that, like putting. It's been a little while, so you're gonna have to go out one of these doors. You can't have them all locked from the inside, right? So you want to go out the one that's least likely to get messed with, and you want to. This could be a thing where you have all your locks protected. So if people might know, like, oh, well, the lock's supposed to be here on this kind of van, I can just break the window, pop it up right here, right? Or they can do the door thing. But anyway, with the locks on, that's not going to make any difference. So there's that. I don't know. I still got to obviously think more about this, but you'll have to go out one door, and that's a whole separate video. I've thought about making this all like cut off, where maybe I have bars that run here, and that if someone breaks in the front, they can't just like come in the back. Like they just can't, which is cool. Like you have bars going like right into, right across where they need to access things. Of course, there might not be a way of getting around it with the fridge, but they'd have to rip out the whole fridge and everything. And you know, I hadn't ripped any of that out before, but I might have to do like an extra mini subfloor right there, because of how much weight's going to be, you know, put on that. So I'm not really sure about that, but at the very least, I'd have to just put furring strips down underneath this black rubber flooring. Anyway, yeah, these are ideas I haven't quite worked all the way out. So those are whole things. I'll do that later. Yeah, the main idea is like my Havelock wool is coming in about 5 weeks. If their estimation of a 6-week delivery time is okay. Yeah, I think I ordered it like a week ago. I put it on my calendar so that I can remember, but when it should be shipping and arriving. They'll probably send me an email though too, which will help with knowing about all that. What else? So yeah, you can run the locks out of people's view, so it's just like on the side of the seat, where no one can like can see what's going on with that lock. That's why I've seen people do them lower, like really low. But it's going to be more strong the higher you go, because if someone's trying to like pry it open from the top, you know, you want in the middle is the strongest, obviously. So the higher up you can get it, it's going to be. This is horrible to see, but probably somewhere around there, around the chair section where you sit. And yeah, I haven't looked at that enough either, but it should. I've seen it on some vans where they just drill right in. Nothing fancy. Put the screws in. They might use a special kind of screw to do that. Probably. I mean, you want it to just be really rock solid. People can't jiggle that out or pry it open still. So, yeah, if I'm really thinking about it, the thing to do would be to exit out the front and then put those bars back on. Like, have some way where you can lock those bars on. Again, that's something I've never done. It seems a little complicated, but it's going to take some metal and some locking mechanism, and yeah, I'm already thinking about something that could work. It's nothing. Well, we're equipped with so much knowledge that we never really apply, you know. But like, yeah, these concepts and like how things work, you just combine them, and things could really fit together. So that could be a thing. And then so you put the bars back on after you go into the front, and then exit out that door. And yeah, maybe you don't have a lock on that door, but oh yeah, and then of course you can have the handlebar lock where they're not going to be driving it off. That would be super important. Yeah, that's just an idea I had. Anyway, then all the other doors are locked. You just use that locking mechanism. Either you do one up top on these double doors, so in this area you could do one at the bottom. And then that's a whole mechanism to do bars there, and it might seem a little overkill. And not that you'd want that visible. Again, you could cover that with a curtain. Don't make it look like you've got bars and everything locked up. That's key. And you could do that with black or white. I'm not really sure the difference. If it's hot, you want it white, and if it's cold, you want it black. So maybe an interchangeable curtain. Yeah, one that is black on one side, white on the other. You can flip it. That's pretty cool. So yeah, I think that's all. I can't just keep talking. That's the extent. I just wanted to show you my layout, give you a few hints about the wood. Oh, another thing I wanted to say is that you can use a Craig jig to do, I looked it up, I haven't applied it yet, to do plywood though. You can use a Craig jig, and this one guy said that that's the best joint he's seen done on plywood is just a Craig. And he talks about going cross grain, because usually you use screws that are like smooth going in and the other board has grip, and so you want the board you're going into at the end to go cross grain, not with the grain. That just makes sense. It's stronger that way. You know, think about it. You want something to pull out or be directly in line, being able to pull out in the same direction, or would you want it to be digging deeper, harder into a grain that is not in line with it, and then try to pull that out? Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense that it's not like a slip and slide for your screw to come out of. You know, it's like a windy ass slip and slide, or not even a slip and slide. That's a weird analogy, but that should make somewhat of some sense, right? Just it's got more resistance to bring those screws out. So anyway, yeah, you can use a Craig jig on the plywood, which is really cool. And I just got one. I might be using it today, actually. My whole idea is to finish this box first. And the bed is going to be trickier for sure. Trickier for sure, yeah. And fitting it into that wheel well area, if you just look at it, it just looks janky. And it is. But it's not a perfect 90 in there, so I don't know. I'll probably do like an extra cubby there, because it's just too hard to get a bed frame to match that craziness. So maybe a little pocket cubby that sits on the side of your bed. That'd be nice even. So and I cut that out all fancy, much easier. So anyway, boxes first, and I'll probably use the Craig jig. I just have to sand one more piece. It's the top piece. It's the biggest piece. And honestly, I actually need to cut it out. I actually need to cut out the lid. So that's going to be coming up like right now. See you.